Hi everyone. I'm going to be walking you through a new course layout that we're piloting in your course this semester. You're a student of health informatics. This may or may not be the course you're enrolled in, but all these features should be pretty similar across each of your courses. So if you're not a student in RHIN 126, don't fear. Some of these elements will be very similar, or all of them will be very similar. So hopefully you can follow along. I want to just walk you through some of the changes that you might see based on the updates that we made from the existing course template that you might be used to, and talk through some of the new features that hopefully you enjoy and make your experience better in the program. So this should look pretty familiar to you. I'm inside of Latte. This is a spring 2020 course. We have a different layout here. This top level section, I think pretty obviously, we have an image, it's kind of noticeable right away. Naming your course up here. A key feature that we updated for this redesign is actually this navigation bar that we have on the top level of your course. And another key feature is this different layout. So this is the entirety of your course homepage. It's much shorter than maybe you're used to. Everything's kind of condensed into these two body sections here, containing the weekly modules and then some of this header content, which you might be referencing over and over again as the course progresses. So I'm just going to show you these pieces. In your navigation bar here, you have your syllabus, you have a help portal, you have a direct link to your gradebook, and a direct link to the course announcements forum. A couple of nice things: the syllabus is hosted as a Google Doc, so if your instructor needs to make any changes to the syllabus, like update a link or adjust a deadline or something like that, they can do it right in this document, and it's going to be updated for you right away, which is a pretty nice feature. It is open so that anyone with the link can use it. You don't need to be logged into your Brandeis account. So hopefully that will prevent any roadblocks from accessing that document. And it opens up into a new tab for you. The next feature I want to show you is the Ask a Question module. This is a new component that we created to help you figure out where to get help when you run into issues in the course. Instead of, maybe you don't know who to ask first, so we kind of have a triage here about, where you should go to ask questions. So ask the class. This is formally the question and answers forum. We changed it to be called Ask the Class so that you really think of it as a place where if you're having trouble with something that everyone could either chip in an answer or anyone could benefit from hearing the answer, we really want you to ask your questions there. So maybe it's a broken link to one of the readings. Maybe you're curious about some extra resources for that week's topic. Maybe you just want to post a resource there. This is really a community forum for support that you can lean on your classmates for. I also have a link in here for the 24-hour help desk. I don't know how many students are familiar with this resource, but we actually have a help desk that you can contact through email, chat, or phone 24 hours a day. Email is 24/7, and then it's 9 to 9 on chat and phone. And the help desk is actually able to help you with anything technical related to the course. So if it's just not functioning, if you need help like checking your grades or understanding, thinking a calculation went wrong, you can contact the help desk and they will, if they can solve it, if it's a purely technical issue, they'll solve it for you. If not, they'll reach out to our team and we can work with the instructor or dig in and try to figure out the problem there. But this is a great first resource if you're running into a technical problem and you need some support. Of course, you always have the professor of the course you can reach out to if you need help. We've changed the name of the private forum to the Ask the Professor forum so that you know that this is your place where if you have a question for your instructor, you can go here and just pose a question. Obviously, things you could ask your instructor a huge variety of things, but we really want this to be private, one-on-one communication, like as opposed to the Ask a Class forum where it's like um, information that many students would benefit from the answer. This is really like something that you want to have a conversation with your instructor about. You know, having trouble with a team member who's not completing their work on time, talking about a grade, talking about improving in the course. You can access that forum right from this page. And then finally, you may want to talk to your academic advisor. So there's a link here um, with more information about your advisor if you have one. If you don't have one, there's also a link to um, a general support person if you're not quite at the stage of having an advisor yet. But your advisor can help you sort through, if you're having a personal emergency or you want to know what's coming up next in the program, what course you want to take next, anything like that. Certainly reach out to your academic advisor. So that's the Ask a Question page. This is, as I said, you can find it right in this top level resource here, and it's also a block down at the end. I won't go over check your grades. That just goes to the grade book. The read the course announcements is again something that hasn't really changed. It's just a link to the course news and announcements forum. There's nothing in here yet because the course has not started. But you'll want to check this as announcements come out. We have a new module here called Getting Started. This is a place where we'd like you to check out before the course begins. And I'll show you what's in here. And it also kind of shows you how this content pops out to be a little sort of like a light box over the rest of the content. So we have a photo of your instructor, a little bit of an introduction from him, and then a list of things that in general we ask you to do just to get oriented to the course before it begins. So if you're a continuing student, we have the academic integrity agreement that we ask you to sign before the course begins. That's at the top here. There's a link to it. We also have a link to a guide on what constitutes plagiarism, so you can review that if you need some additional resources. I have a link to the course resource repository, which we're going to explore in just a minute as well. This is just to get you familiar with, what are the texts that you're going to read? Are there any external programs that we need to use in the course? Everything is going to be linked here. We also have a reminder to attend the welcome session. So every instructor should be holding a welcome session during the first week of the course, and this is just a reminder that you're expected to attend if you're able to. A little orientation again to go to the Ask a Question module, peruse that, get familiar with the different ways you can get help, and then finally go to the Introduce Yourself forum. So this is where you can just write a post. We ask you to share your name, how far you are in the program, a little bit of background about yourself, and get to know your classmates. This is the Getting Started module. It's just sort of an orientation to the course, and I think it's kind of a nice new feature. I will jump into week 1, but before I do, I just want to note that each week now has the dates on each block that represents the week, so you can really quickly see, okay, it's April 17th, we're in week 2, or whatever the date is. And if you hover over each block, it actually tells you what's inside of it. So you can see in week 3, there's one assignment and one forum. There's a forum in every week, but you can see if there's extra stuff too. So week 6, there's an assignment, and I think in week 10, there's an assignment too. Yep. So let's actually go to week 3 because there is an assignment in there, and you can see all the features. So we can click on week 3, and this is our new weekly layout. We have a title for the week, a little bit of text just um, explaining the big concepts of the week, and then also anything that's coming up. So looks like there's a assignment that's due this week, so the instructor has mentioned that and offered some support to students who are completing the assignment. And then we have a weekly checklist, so everything that you're expected to do this week you can manually mark if you've completed it or not, and this is just to help you keep on track with how your work is going. And it's, again, you just click it to mark it, just that simple. Moving down here, we have the learning materials. We have an estimated time commitment for how long we think this should take you. We're certainly open to feedback. These are estimates based on our best guesses of how much is assigned and the difficulty of the readings, but it actually would be great to hear from you at the end of the course if you think these estimates are accurate and how we can kind of dial them in to be more accurate moving forward. For each week, there's just a little bit of text about what's assigned and the order that the instructor thinks you should read or view the assignments. So there's just one chapter from the textbook this week and a short lecture. And they said, please go through them in the order they're presented here. First there's a lecture, then read the topic notes, or then read the chapter. We scroll down and then we have the discussion and collaboration section. A little bit of the prompt is listed out here so you can get a sense of what's going to be asked of you. I think this is helpful so that as you're reading, okay, I'm going to be asked about the concept of little data. Okay, so I can start thinking about that as I'm going through the readings, and it's just right out here. A link to the forum is right below. Click there, post your responses to do everything normally that you would do in the forum. And we estimate that writing your post, reading your classmates' responses, and coming up with your own replies would be about 3-hour time commitment. Finally, we have assessments and assignments, and this represents what's due this week. So under the overview, you have analytical presentation 1. It's due this week. There's a little description of what's expected, and then a link to the complete assignment prompt. And I'll just show you that. It's actually linked as a Google Doc so that you can print this out if you want to, mark it up, take it with you as you work offline on your project. I will go back. Oopsie, there we go. And we can see that it's due on Tuesday. There's a link to submit your work. This won't happen for every course, but in this course in particular, the instructor is giving you a little bit of lead time for each assignment. So he actually has the next assignment due in 3 weeks and wanted to share the prompt this week so that you can start working on it. You may not have the time to do it if you're finishing up your project, but just for those students who want to be able to plan their workload in a nice way, we have this looking ahead section. So you can also click here, look at the assignment prompt, start thinking about that project. And that kind of does it for the week. It's I think pretty straightforward. We have everything you need on one page here. Everything is, we try to bring it onto the surface so you can scan this and get a good sense of how much time you think all of this work is going to take, what you should be paying attention to, what's due and when. Some courses, if there's like a video lecture or a PowerPoint lecture, that will be embedded here, with the goal of just having everything as laid out as possible, and easy for you to scan and view. To close it, you can click anywhere or The last thing that I want to show you is this resource repository. And for this course, there isn't any extra software or external tools that the instructor is using, but we do have a link to the book as an ebook in the Brandeis Library, so you can always just click right here and find the book. And then we have each assignment prompt and the rubric for each assignment listed here, so you can easily access all of these resources in one place. I think that does it for this demo. If you have questions and you want to talk about them or need some support in any of these resources, I will put my email address on the screen here for you, and feel free to reach out with any questions. I hope you enjoy this new layout. We will be sending out a survey for you to fill out after the course, so you can help us with the pilot if you're willing to participate. Let us know what you think about it, what improvements we can make, and yeah, thank you for your time.